And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. And taking a look at what's going on across the state of Alaska, we have another round of some wet snow moving into the west coast later tonight, and for Wednesday morning, another round of snow that'll overspread areas of the interior, and then pockets of snow remaining along and on the north side of the Alaska Range up through Fairbanks and the higher country there off to the east and northeast, at least into Wednesday afternoon, evening. Once that winds down, there's going to be a strong North Pacific low with a very large circulation that's going to impact areas here for the end of the week, through the weekend, and even a bit beyond. And this low will be sitting southeast of the Alaska Peninsula and bringing the potential for heavy snow and high winds across the eastern Aleutians, spreading up into the YK Delta along the southwest coast. This would start on Thursday in the Aleutians and then spread up into the YK Delta by the time we get into Friday. Could produce blizzard conditions on the backside of the storm and brisk northeast to north winds. And then areas up along the Alaska Peninsula, the Gulf Coast, coastal rain, and then mountain snows there along the coast from the Alaska Peninsula all the way eastward, eventually into the Panhandle by the time we get into later this weekend and early next week. So to start out things, park entrance to Denali Park, wet snow this afternoon, 36 degrees, several inches falling there. Winter weather advisory will continue through at least Wednesday morning. Meanwhile, out to the eastern Aleutians, Dutch Harbor enjoying sunny skies, 43 degrees, but you're going to see an increase in clouds coming up from the southeast and south tomorrow, and then snow develop as we get into Thursday. That snow could become heavy at times with strong gusty winds causing blizzard or near blizzard conditions. And looking at what we have in the way of hazardous weather and winter weather advisories. Winter weather advisories in effect for this area of the Alaska Range, including Denali Park, Healy, and then on up through Fairbanks. And then you get into the higher terrain outside of Fairbanks, like the Upper Salcha, Chena, and up in through the White Mountains. These advisories are in effect through Wednesday morning here in the Alaska Range, and then into Wednesday afternoon and evening. Already several inches of wet snow is falling. Additional snowfall will occur tonight into Wednesday morning, but not be quite as heavy as what it was earlier today. And then back to the west, winter special weather statement for another low that's going to come up right around Wales and Shishmaref, and that's just going to bring a round of some light snow or snow showers, so there could be some additional light accumulations and gusty winds as we go through late tonight and especially Wednesday morning. But then the more substantial weather will happen later this week. We have winter storm watches for the eastern Aleutians Thursday into early Saturday, and then up here for the YK Delta as we get into Thursday night, especially Friday and Saturday. This area of low pressure is going to come up out of the North Pacific, and then on the backside of the low, strong northeast to north winds combined with heavy snow could cause blizzard or near blizzard conditions. And it's a similar setup to the storm that happened back in mid-January. So this is how things are shaping up right now on the satellite imagery. And you can see there's another little disturbance here that's going to be quickly moving off toward the east-northeast. We still have moisture along and just north there of the Alaska Range. And then hints of the next stream of moisture to be coming up from the North Pacific. So on the weather map late tonight, early Wednesday morning, here's this low, not especially strong, but it does have some more light snow or snow showers with it as it pushes in across the west and north side of the Seward Peninsula. This cold front's going to kind of stall out, wash out as we go through the day on Wednesday, and then we will watch another low begin to emerge from the North Pacific. This weak low over the Gulf just continues to weaken, with pockets of snow lingering tonight into Wednesday across the central northern interior. But that front kind of washes out, and then we have it stalling. There is a little shot of colder air coming in across the western northern bearing from eastern Asia. That's going to be pulled down toward the southeast and reinforce the cold air over the central and eastern Aleutians, setting the stage for some heavier snow to develop as this low. By Thursday afternoon, we have a 976 low south of the Alaska Peninsula and the North Pacific. Broad wind field and circulation around this low. So the backside, it's going to be snow here. And as we get into Thursday night and Friday, that snow will expand northward to include areas of the YK deltas and the potential for several inches of snow there with either near or blizzard conditions. Quieter weather initially out along the Gulf Coast into the Panhandle Thursday. But on Friday, that low sits there, and it's not really going to move a whole lot. It's just going to kind of sit over this region of the North Pacific, just outside of the Gulf. But the circulation will have impacts into the Gulf through the weekend. So if you live along the Gulf Coast, you're going to see some coastal rains and gusty winds develop. And then as that moisture comes in contact with the coastal mountains, it's going to fall, at least a little mid and higher level of elevations. It's going to be a wet accumulating snow. On the backside of the system, eastern Aleutians up here into the YK deltas, Nunavik Island, periods of moderate to heavy snow blowing and drifting with those strong winds. And then even so, this low eventually will send some moisture northward across the interior as we go through the weekend. So temperatures come Wednesday morning will be cold across the north slope and Arctic coast below zero, as cold as 13, 15 below there at Arctic Village. Readings a bit milder in the south central areas and along the coast, generally stopping around the freezing mark. A little cooler the inner channels of the Panhandle, getting down below freezing. And then high temperatures Wednesday afternoon. Coldest air, single digits above zero, north slope and the Arctic coast, but we could see some 45 to near 50 degree readings. Anchorage Bowl up through the Mat-Su Valley, west side of the Kenai Peninsula, and certainly out here along areas of the Panhandle, generally high temperatures getting into the 50s. Yesterday, Klawock had the state's high temperature at 57 degrees, whereas Point Lay this Tuesday morning was one above. And then on Thursday morning, still some lows in the single digits below zero throughout the Arctic coast, spine of the Brooks Range and along even down towards, say, Shishmaref, north side of the Seward Peninsula. Temperatures getting down through the Anchorage Bowl, western Kenai will stop near or just a tad above freezing, generally near or just above freezing in the Panhandle. And then again, Thursday afternoon, a mild day across the Panhandle, temperatures getting well up into the 50s, maybe a spot or two approaching 60 degrees in that southwestern area, the Prince of Wales area of the Panhandle. And again, readings in the 45 to 50 degree range from the Mat-Su Valley down through the Anchorage Bowl and along the western Kenai, and even some temperatures out here in the northern Alaska Peninsula, like at King Salmon, up to 47, 48 degrees. But notice the cold air. With the northerly flow here over the eastern Bering, it's pulling down the cold air as that low comes up from the south, and that's going to bring milder air up through the Gulf, but pull down colder air across the eastern Aleutians, and that's what's going to allow for that situation to develop the heavier snow and gusty winds. It'll be cold enough for that. Interestingly enough, now as we go through past the first week of April, April 7th through the 11th, it's a split in the way the temperature outlook is shaping up for the state. The eastern half of the mainland, especially the southeast mainland through the Panhandle, above normal temperatures are very likely, should continue. To the west, though, colder air, which would imply some sort of northerly flow, and the ice along this area could also continue to shift a bit further south, even though we have reached maximum ice extent for the winter about a little more than a week ago. But we have a split there across the state. West side cooler than normal, and the east side and southeast warmer than normal. And then, of course, in that kind of setup, you have a milder southerly flow coming into areas of the Panhandle along the northern Gulf Coast that could spread precipitation up along the Alcan border in the eastern half of the mainland. So precipitation will likely average at least a bit above normal here for April 7th through the 11th, east half of the mainland in through the Panhandle. Considering normally this is our driest time of the year, and then drier conditions, not much in the way of precipitation is expected along, especially areas of the southwest, the YK deltas down around Bristol Bay and in through the Alaska Peninsula, down toward the eastern Aleutians. Once we get by the storm in this region and here that's coming up for the end of this week and the weekend. So stay tuned to later forecast updates, possible watches, warnings, and advisories.